Recently had an opportunity to just kind of interview many of our members and ministry leaders in our church, asking this question: what is the gospel? As I began to interview people, it was interesting. I found many definitions of the gospel. Some people say the gospel is truth. Some people said the gospel is a love story. Then I asked a follow-up question, and the question was, what is a disciple? Soon I found out that there were so many different definitions of disciple. Being a disciple is living and loving like Jesus and inviting others to do so. Nothing less, nothing more. As C.S. Lewis would say, Christian. Being a disciple is Christianship, if you would, or Christformity. At this point, people begin to ask me like, okay, Jonathan, what does that practically look like in our life? Many pastors tell me, well, I make disciples. I preach the gospel every week. What's interesting is that in light of the Great Commission, in Matthew 28, verse 19 through 20, Jesus didn't say, therefore, I invite you to grab a pen and grab a pew, and we're going to go through a 4-week sermon series on making disciples. You see, what's interesting is that Jesus never had a classroom. Jesus did life. Jesus had a pathway of living through a relational environment, which is the local church today, and he had a biblical blueprint, a roadmap to take people on. We cannot make an excuse, first, to sit, and second, to listen and think that we made disciples. Disciples cannot be microwaved. They're crock-pot recipe. One author said, discipleship is long obedience in the same direction. So it's not a destination that we hit, but it's a direction of life that we take. Many pastors think their greatest impact comes from preaching to the many. Not according to Jesus. Your greatest impact comes, like the life of Jesus, doing life in a close proximity with your disciples. When it comes to Jesus' way, we don't want to take Jesus' way. It's too hard, it's too messy, it takes too long. Therefore, we don't see Jesus' life in the church. No vibrancy, no excitement, no passion, no reproduction, no multiplication. We have taken the message of Jesus, but completely ignored its method. Therefore, we do not see the mission of Jesus accomplished in this church. So that's the reason a lot of our preaching, a lot of our teaching only ends on a theology level that never reaches to their methodology. The classroom never reaches to the living room. You see, I believe with all my heart, a return to Christ-centered discipleship is going to ignite the 21st century Reformation to begin a world revolution through the local movement of the gospel. So by definition, that is a Christ-centered discipleship.